soft and relaxed, the spine long, your head sitting on top of your neck. Just notice what your face feels like. Are you holding anywhere, particularly around your jaw? And you allow your jaw to soften. Allow your eyes to be soft and resting back in their sockets. Allowing your head to be at rest. And bringing your attention to your shoulders. So allowing your shoulders to be broad and wide. Again, you might want to take a deeper in-breath into your shoulders. Allow your shoulders to relax on the out-breath. And allow your arms to drop out of the shoulders. Your hands resting on a cushion or in your lap. Just resting in your awareness of your body. Resting in your posture. Just allowing any sounds to drift into and out of awareness. Or notice if you're hooking on. What's the quality of your mind, your mental activity? Is there a flurry of thoughts, or is your mind starting to calm? Just seeing if you can allow your experience to stabilize. Allowing your awareness to broaden and soften. Keep coming back to the breath if you find your distracted. And just know that each moment that you catch yourself drifting off is a moment of awareness. And just come back to your body, reconnect with your breath. And just allow your awareness to rest in the breath coming and going. And tuning in with your emotional world, your heart center, whatever that might mean for you. Any emotions or feelings that are present. So we're just noticing. Try not to judge or label. Just tuning into our overall experience of how we are now. And if there's an impulse to move, just stay with that. See if you can stay still, stay in contact with your breath and your body. Resting in your breathing body. Coming back into the room and sitting at ease. Thanks, Paul. Okay, great. I hope you feel a bit more arrived. Yeah, so what I meant to say was there'll be two halves to this evening, which I'm sure most of you will be familiar with. So the first half will be till about 8:15, and then we'll go upstairs for a tea break. You can have your tea at home, obviously, if you're online. And then we'll come back down for a second half, and we'll do some more meditation together. Okay. Just some housekeeping. We've got some tech going on. So we've got Seb tonight looking after our tech. There's some leads, so just be careful of those. And also, if you've got some sort of device with you, if you could just make sure it's on silent and it's not going to be bleeping, that would be great. Thank you. Yeah. So, as I said at the beginning, we've been exploring over the last few weeks the sublime abodes, the Brahma Viharas. So we've been looking at Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and now we're moving on to Upekkha. And I've actually found some translations of this, which I'd like to share with you. And I wish I could take credit, but I can't. So, yeah. And the translations I've actually found is by an order member from the Bristol Buddhist Centre called Shwala Malini. One way that Upekkha is described as, or translates as, is calm and composed, especially in adversity, which I really, really like. So it can be quite simply known as equanimity. So basically, a way of relating to Upekkha or equanimity is that whatever is arising in our experience, whether that's suffering, whether something's painful or even pleasurable, we're not grasping onto it. So rather than reacting to experience, we're responding. And our minds do this. Our minds react. So we're training ourselves. And another way of describing what's happening with Upekkha is that it's neither a feeling or a thought, but it's a steady realization. And in a way, Upekkha brings in what is a wisdom aspect. And another way that Shwala Malini described Upekkha is Metta, Karuna, Mudita, held within a basis of dharmic understanding. And the dharmic understanding is that everything is in flux. Everything is changing all the time. Except what we do is we have an experience and we go, oh, I want more of that. Yes, please. Or no, I don't want that. That's painful. And it's what we do. But we can rest more and more in our experience and respond rather than react. Yeah? Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, great. Yeah, so in a way we're training ourselves to respond rather than react. Yeah? And it's not necessarily a feeling or an experience we're having. We're just sort of watching our experience and noticing when we're pushing and pulling. Yeah? So, for example, at the moment, it's really beautiful weather, isn't it? Really, really lovely weather. And we feel like spring's arriving. And there's something about, well, how can we just rest in the experience of enjoying spring, rather than sort of maybe wanting more. Or maybe we've had a really nice meal and then we're like, I want a bit more. So we're sort of pushing and pulling. And that's what we do. That's what the mind does. It's grasping for experience or pushing and pulling away. And probably as well, given our personality types, we probably do something, we probably either push or pull a bit more based on our own personalities as well. Yeah. And I think the other thing is to know that, is to not try and judge ourselves for doing that. It's what the mind does. And these grooves are so deep and so strong that there's a metaphor for walking down a street, there's a hole, we fall in it. We're walking down a street, we know there's a hole there, we fall in it. We're walking down the street, so we keep on doing these things. But actually what we can do, particularly in the mindfulness of breathing, is really allow the breath, or allow our attention to rest more and more fully on the breath. So we're really stabilising our experience and our mental activity and calming our hearts. And then we can see a bit more clearly how we're reacting or pushing and pulling away. And we can just eventually start seeing our experience as this flow of experience. Yeah? And it is said that with the mindfulness of breathing, that apparently it was the practice that the Buddha was practicing when he awakened. So there is something about the mindfulness of breathing where we can really sort of pay attention and pay interest and allow our experience to stabilise. So we can really see how we're grasping onto it. That things will arise, and then we can see how we're grasping and pulling, pushing and pulling away at experience. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, so what I'd like us to try this evening is we'll do a 4-stage mindfulness of breathing, and I'll ring bells for that. But we'll add on another stage where, in a way, some of you might have heard of just sitting, where we're sort of relaxing effort. But what I'd like us to do is to really rest our attention. Hopefully, through the 4 stages, we might have gathered ourselves together a bit more, and mind might have stabilised. I'd just like us to just rest our attention on the breath. And just see if you can see the breath just changing. Or even I challenge you to say, well, is there anything in your experience that is fixed? Just see if you can notice what's happening in your experience. Is there anything there that is fixed and unchanging? Yeah, so we'll do that in that 5th stage. We'll just be with the breath and maybe drop in a reflection. What is there in my experience that's fixed and unchanging? And what am I reacting to? What am I pushing and pulling away in my experience? And again, it's what we do. So we're just noticing, grasping, I'm pushing, pulling something. I want that. I have a thought. Maybe you're planning something at the weekend. The weather's nice. Just notice pulling that towards you. Oh, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. So you're pushing away. Yeah. Yeah. Paul's up for it. So shall we give that a go? Yeah? Great. Lights please, Paul. Did anyone have any questions at this stage before we go into the practice? There will be an opportunity to sort of reflect and share a little bit later. Okay, that's great. Okay, so again, just sort of taking your time to set up well. Just settling into your posture again. You can close your eyes when you're ready. To allow yourself to settle into your posture. Again, just reconnecting with the cushion or chair beneath you. Mindfulness of breathing. Just notice what's happening. Just give yourself permission to be present with your breath, your breathing body. Noticing any impulse to move. Just see if you can breathe into that impulse. Just take the breath to it. Notice how you're breathing, allowing the breath to come and go. Notice whether you're grasping at the breath. Just allow the breath. Allow your body to breathe itself. Notice if you're resisting the breath. Just allowing the breath to be soft and natural. second stage of the mindfulness of breathing. Just notice what's happening. See if you can hold breathing and the counting in a broad, spacious awareness. Watching any impulse or wanting to move. See if you can take the breath to that. Allowing any sounds to come and go. Just reconnecting with your posture as we move into the third stage of the mindfulness of breathing. We're holding the breath in a broad, spacious awareness, taking an interest in the breath. Allowing the breath to come and go. And noticing any grasping or any pushing or pulling away of your experience. Just notice what's happening. Where are you? Just notice what's happening. Are you with the breath? And if you've drifted off into thinking, just gently come back to your breathing body. Mindfulness of breathing. Allowing your mind and body to be steady. notice what's happening. Where have you gone? Where are you? Keep reconnecting with your breathing body. Any effort you've been making. We're just going to move into a stage of just sitting, just relaxing any effort, just resting in your posture. Just reconnecting with your breathing body. Watching the breath. Resting your awareness in your breathing body. Watching the breath coming and going. Wave of the breath that comes into the body and then leaves the body. And is there anything in your experience, in your breath, that's fixed or unchanging? What do you notice about your breath? Just noticing if you're grasping after experience, or you're pushing, if there's resistance in your experience. It's what we do. Just noticing. Might be resisting the breath. You might be wanting an experience of the breath. Just noticing. Are we wanting a good meditation? Or are you judging your meditation? So just noticing what's happening in our experience. Seeing if you can just rest in your experience, in your breath, in your posture. happening. So again, just gently relaxing any effort you've been making. Just staying still for a moment or two longer. Gently and slowly. Okay, well done. So we'll go upstairs for a tea break now. And then when we come back, we'll have an opportunity to share with each other in pairs how that was, and then come back into the group, and then we'll do that again. Okay, and if you're on YouTube and you've got any questions, I'll be around during the break. I can have a chat with you. Seb can have a chat with you as well, and let us know what you're having for your tea break. So do go upstairs, and there'll be some tea and announcements about things coming up at the Buddhist Centre over the next few weeks. So thanks everyone, and see you after the break.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so welcome back. So what I'd like us to do, welcome back if you're with us on YouTube. So what I'd like us to do here in the room together is get together with somebody else, preferably you don't know, and just share how that meditation was for you. Particularly the last stage. Was there anything in your experience that was fixed? Or could you just connect with the breath coming and going? So how was it for you? So we'll spend a bit of time sharing, and then we'll come back into the group. And if you're on YouTube, you can post any questions, and I'll come over and we can look at those. Hello, welcome back. So get together with somebody else, and just have a share. How was it for you? Okay, great. So, does anyone want to share how their experience of the meditation was, or if you've got any questions, now's your opportunity, or are you just going to all sit there and look down, or just any observations, or there's no right or wrong answers, so it's just a case of sharing, and often when we ask questions it can be really helpful for others. Anyway.
I'll try actually.
Okay.
That's why
I wondered if there was a question coming.
Clear my throat. Yeah, I mean, we were speaking, and by like the sort of final stage, in terms of finding the stillness in your breath, there's a massive difference from when you're sort of in the room, finding yourself in the room, and from like the first, second, third stage. There's a bit more of an anchor in terms of finding stillness. But here goes with the anchor metaphor. I still feel, and this is one thing I've got to work on, I think you might as well, still feel like you're very much floating in water. Out the world's still there. So I've got an anchor now. That wasn't there before. Before I was free swimming in water.
Yeah, sure.
Now I've got an anchor, but I'm still sort of floating. I can hear things. So and my mind's still fluttering.
Yeah, okay. So it's a couple of very interesting metaphors. Great metaphors.
Yeah, thank you.
So can you say what that anchor feels like? How do you know that you're anchored?
Yeah, I mean, that anchor feels like it's a sense of calm and stillness within my breath. So I'm actually, I've got something in which I'm focusing with myself.
Yeah.
It's a sense of, it's almost humbling because you're not feeling as lost anymore in the senses. But yeah, it still feels like there's work needing to be done. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
that
there's always work to be done.
Work, yeah.
Yeah. And the other metaphor you used was, did you say the ocean?
I used the ocean, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you know that you're in an ocean? What's that experience like?
I think that was quite intuitive, to be honest, and it's not a metaphor I've come up with before. But I think being out in the ocean, you can feel either lost in the ocean. There's a lot of things that you can look for in the ocean. There's all sorts of sounds and feelings. It's very much a sensory experience. So it's that sort of same thing when you're in this room and you're trying to make sense of this sort of vast openness.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
I've gotten very existential and philosophical, but that's how I felt.
Well, and it's great to have those metaphors, so thank you for sharing those.
Sure.
And I think it's also really helpful to be really clear about what's going on in your experience. When you talk about the senses, it'd be interesting to have another conversation with you about what your sensory experience is. So these metaphors can be helpful, and also what's your direct experience as well. And that's what we're trying to feel into more and more and more. And I think that direct experience, when we're in touch with that, can be an anchor for us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. posed you a bit of a challenge when I said, can you find anything in your experience? So in that just sitting stage, is there anything in your experience that's fixed and unchanging? And would anyone like to contradict me? Yeah, go on.
Anytime my focus was something that I thought was fixed,
Oh
it
yeah.
would change.
Yeah, and what was that focus?
It was just either it would be like my breath, a specific thought, or how I was like sitting or feeling at a specific point. And it was kind of like as soon as I observed it and tried to take note of it and experience it disappeared or became stronger.
Okay. When you say it became stronger, what was?
Like discomfort, for example.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a really interesting point, because I think we can fix our experience. So particularly if there's pain, we can think there's just pain, there's just discomfort. But if we really look into it, it does change. It can change. Yeah. Great. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Got anything? Any observations or anything you want to share? Yeah. Hi.
I think you mentioned that sometimes we are seeking experience, that you're pulling on having a good meditation, and I think that was something that rang true. When you said it, I was aware of it, and then it became a better experience, I suppose.
Okay.
Because I kind of let go.
Oh, okay. So can you say what was happening before, and then what it changed, what happened?
I think you really try and focus on the breath, but and every time you go away, you get distracted, get annoyed.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
I'm pulling on, I need to have a good
Okay.
meditation today.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
But then, whatever you said,
Yeah. And some I heard an as if that resonated from this side of the room.
I said that.
Oh, hi. Hi. Did that ring true for you?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can you say a little bit more? Or?
No, I just when I
Thank you.
let go, that's when I can tap into the feeling that I'm seeking.
Yeah.
When I just relax and don't have that almost resistance energy when I'm trying to get there. And I just let go, and it's so much better for me.
Where are you trying to get to?
I'm just trying to get that feeling.
Yeah,
that bliss
sure.
feeling that's the complete opposite to day-to-day noise. You know.
And I think that, and we very, very easily do that with meditation. Like, maybe we feel like we've had a good meditation in the first half. We come back in the second half and our mind is so scattered and we're like, what is happening? Or, so it's what we can do that with meditation as well, is put on quite a lot of expectation and labelling. Oh, this is bad. But actually, with meditation, we're just noticing our experience. We're just noticing our experience and what's happening. And as I said before, the breath is a good way, and particularly with the counting, because the mind gets really busy. So the mind wants something to do. So we drop in the counting to give the mind something to do. And if we can pay interest to that and gather ourselves around that, the mind will stabilise and our experience will stabilise. And we will experience that quite differently. Yeah. But it's just interesting to notice this grasping after experience. I want a particular experience, or I don't want that experience. I don't want my mind to be really busy, but actually that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. How can we just sort of, it's noticing and just being with that. So as I was saying earlier, we're just practicing, noticing where we're reacting and learning and training ourselves to respond, so our experience becomes more pliable. So we're responding rather than reacting. And we're going to do both. Yeah. Is there anything come in? No. Maybe people are still on their tea break, having a long tea break today. Okay. So unless anyone's got any more questions or wants to share anything, I'm going to suggest we...
Sorry,
yeah.
I actually do have a question.
Oh, go on. Yeah,
I've
great.
actually forgotten some of the stages.
Ah.
Would you mind going over?
Yeah, of
the
course.
stages?
Yeah. So in the first stage, so basically we're dropping in a count after the out breath. So we breathe in, breathe out, count 1. Breathe in, breathe out, count 2. And then we try to get to 10. And we just come back. So we just keep on coming back if we're distracted and picking up the counting. And then in the second stage, we shift the focus of the counting before the in-breath. So count 1, breathe in, breathe out, and so on and so forth. And then in the third stage, we're dropping the counting and we're just becoming aware of the breath coming into and out of the body. So we've got a broad awareness of the breath in our body, yeah. And we might just want to focus the attention somewhere where we can really feel it moving, yeah. And then in the fourth stage, we're focusing our attention around a point where we're noticing the breath coming in and out of the body. So the nostrils are often a good place to do this because there's quite a lot of sensation, believe it or not. You know, temperature and things like that. Yeah.
That's great, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Great. All right, fine. Okay. So let's set up for meditation again. If you could do the lights, Paul, that's great, thanks.
Doing the third stage.
So just get what you need, setting up well, taking your time to get comfortable. So I'll ring bells for the 4 stages of the mindfulness of breathing. And we'll start with a little arriving practice just to let the words drop away. And then we'll have this extra stage where we can just be with the breath and just notice if we're grasping after experience or resisting experience, and just reflecting on whether the breath is fixed and just allowing it to come and go. So, and we're just maybe reflecting in that stage, what part of my experience is fixed? Is it fixed? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so just allowing your weight to drop through the cushion and down through your legs into the floor. Just knowing that the earth is there to support you and take your weight. Maybe you can just let go of any holding. And allowing the upper body to be upright. And shoulders relaxed and arms dropping out the shoulders and your hands resting in your lap. Just finding your breath in your body. Might be the rise and fall of the in and out breath in your belly or your shoulders. Just allowing your attention to rest on your breath coming and going. Mindfulness of breathing. So dropping in a count after the out breath. Notice what's happening. Noticing if you're grasping after a particular experience or resisting. Just reconnect with your breathing body. Moving into the second stage of the mindfulness of breathing, shifting the emphasis of the counting to before the in-breath. into thinking, just reconnect with your breathing body, reconnect with your posture. Moving into the third stage of the mindfulness of breathing. Drop the counting and just allow your attention to rest on the breath coming and going, the in and out breath. Just allow your awareness to ride the wave of the breath. Just notice if you're holding on to the breath, resisting the breath, gripping the breath. paying to your attention to your breath as it actually is, not how you want it to be or imagine it to be, your direct experience of the breath. Qualities of the breath. Whether that's pleasant or painful. Just resting in your experience of your breathing body and your breath. Moving into the fourth stage of the mindfulness of breathing. So allowing your attention to rest on a particular point in your body, maybe around your nostrils, where you can just notice the breath coming and going through the sensations of contact with your body. Seeing if you can stay interested. Just noticing any impulses to move, and just maybe take the breath there, take your attention there, just rest there before moving. Just letting go of any effort you've been making. Recontacting, tuning into your posture, your contact with the seat beneath you, cushions. And then tuning into your breath. Just watching the breath coming and going from your body. Just allow your attention to rest lightly in your experience and on the breath. Is there any part of your breath that's fixed and unchanging? Is there any part of your experience that's fixed and unchanging? Your thoughts or any emotions? Any sensations? Just notice any labeling. Good or bad. Wanting, not wanting. See if you can allow your experience to broaden out. Just allow your awareness to be soft and open. So Upekkha is where Metta meets suffering and joy, and responds knowing that all experience changes. Just starting to relax any effort. Just sitting for a few more breaths. Out of the meditation with awareness, coming back into the room with awareness. Thank you. Okay. So that brings us to the end of our evening, and just want to say, as many of you who come each week know, that the team are all volunteers. We give our time, Paul and Zander and Seb and others and myself, we're all volunteers, and we give our time to come along on a Wednesday on a voluntary basis. Very happy to do that. And so the London Buddhist Centre runs on the principle of dharma, of generosity. So we do recommend an amount for the class, and if you can pay that, that's great, but if you can't, that's fine. We want our classes to be open to all people that can come. So if you can give tonight, or if you've already given, thank you very much. If you can give, there'll be some people upstairs. And Seb, if you could post a link online, that would be fantastic. But the main thing is to keep coming, because the London Buddhist Centre is about us. And as Jana Vacha was saying during the break, it's about changing our mind. So do keep coming each week. So thank you very much, everyone. If we could have some help packing up the room, that would be great. Mats live in the corner, cushions live around the side. Just be careful, like I said earlier, of any cables and things like that we've been using for the setup. And thank you for joining us on YouTube. It's been really good to have you with us. So thanks very much, and have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks.